Hey you guys, and welcome to BoisChat, the favorite podcast of your dog. Today we'll be taking a look at a variety of interesting articles that have surfaced here around on the net. Today, accompanying me as always, we have Daniel Magne, aka DanMag, and we have Daniel Pereira, aka Pereira, on Overwatch and many other places. And Overwatch has an interesting spot today in this video. But first, we're going to start with the absolute controversial hot tub streamers. I know you're a fan, Dan. You don't have to hide it anymore.
Oh, yeah, I'm already subscribed, like 4 of them.
Tier 4, right?
Tier 4, yeah.
Tier 4.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's the way. So if you've been living under a rock, you may already know that there has been an uprising of Twitch streamers streaming, more specifically women, or non-binary, whatever, because I don't want to offend anyone, doing sexy streams on hot tubs, beaches, pools, anything. So what Twitch says is that it isn't against the rules to do that kind of stream, and that they are going to give them a new category that is for those specific things. And I have to say that I think that that's a good move, because that kinds of streams are catered to a specific audience. So taking them out in the front of my face from the start when what I want to watch is something like League of Legends or other types of gameplay, speedruns or whatever, I think it's a good call. But I'm not the only one that consumes Twitch. How in your face has been these hot tub streams for you guys?
I think it's been pretty annoying since they're almost every time featured on the front page of Twitch. You almost always, when you open Twitch, would see a hot tub stream featured on the front page up top. So I think it's been a hit, but a lot of people are pretty annoyed by it because they think it's the meta. They prey on people who has, this sexual desire to see these people showing off their bodies in a tub.
Yeah, you see, that's what I think, that it caters to a specific audience. We don't want to like discriminate or say anything, but since it caters to a specific audience, it shows. Okay, like there's a saying that you can always count on the horniness of men. And that's kind of it. Dan, what's your take for us to jump into the next article?
Well, if I may say so, just before we jump to the next article, I think it would be fine if they would just categorize it, like you said. Like if you put in a category, that's fine. As long as it doesn't just shove it up your face as soon as you get on Twitch. Specifically because Twitch has to do a system in which they know what you watch, so they have to show you what you want to watch, kind of like YouTube. Like, would you watch one video and then they show you everything about that video? As long as they categorize it, I think it's fine. And if it caters to a specific audience, I think that's fine, because like it doesn't only has to be for like the hot tub streamers. It could be for anybody else. Like caters to specific. Like, for example, speedruns. I don't like watching speedruns, but I know that it caters to a specific type of people. So it categorizes for a specific type of people. But the only thing that I wish is that when I go to Twitch and I want to see something, I don't know, I want to see my favorite streamer who plays a lot of games, or I want to see League of Legends, I don't want to shove down like 36 pages of the different people on hot tubs or in like mini pools in bikinis.
Yeah,
like,
what you want
exactly
is to be able to see what you want right away, and
yes, exactly.
and cut around the fluff on the sides. Like having a filter system. Like if you go to the main page and you have like, okay, I have filter. I only want to see gaming, League of Legends, and just chatting of these specific streamers, and that's it. The thing is, I think they put it on the front page because they think that people want to discover them. But if all the content that you have to offer is join a hot tub, I don't find so much substance into it. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a guy that was streaming League of Legends from his bathtub. Like, and he was the first bathtub streamer, and it was so funny because he was actually playing a game, but the catch it was that he was in his bathtub. When you do something like that, when you make and he said that it was super dangerous and it was super uncomfortable, but I think that this is not original. As I said before, this is catering to something of the age variety of audience. So
this is an evolution from, because we are also accustomed to see like the streamers that dress sexy, like in purpose. They could be playing a game, but they dress sexy in purpose
full
because they know that
cleavage, you see all that.
they know that brings people. So I think this is the evolution of like, okay, if you come here just for like for my body, I'm just gonna show off my body. I'm gonna talk.
We don't want to say any names of any streamers that are doing this, because we don't want anyone attacking anyone. But you're going to be able to find which streamers do hot tub streams and bikini streams whenever you want, because they are that featured that often on Twitch. But let's jump into the next news, because I think we already pissed off a bunch of people with that specific article, and we're going to talk about the new Avengers Campus ride for Spider-Man in Disney. So this was an article that was given to us by Dan, so I'm going to give him the honors of reading both the title and essentially what it means.
This is my worst nightmare come true, really. So, as many of you know, Disney is gonna have this Avengers land that is called the Avengers Campus, basically the theme park for the Avengers, which I'm really excited about. And they're gonna have a Spider-Man ride, and they just announced that the Spider-Man ride will have a microtransaction in the form of a web shooter. So what you do is that you initially pay $35 for like the entrance, if I'm not mistaken, to the ride. I think it could be also the ride and land. I'm not pretty sure about that, but you have to pay $35 in advance.
Yes.
Which is not different. It's like whenever you go to like Universal, and you have to pay for each part separately. But in the Spider-Man ride, they say like, okay, so you have your web shooter, that's fine, but we do have web tech. And you're realizing, what is web tech? Okay, that's an extra $30. You have to pay an extra $30 if you want to, of course, for improvements on your web shooter for the ride. Now, here's the thing. You can take that, like what you buy that extra, you can take it home. It's actually like yours. It's kind of like whenever you buy a wand in the Harry Potter land. So when you pay that, you can take it to your home to display, only to display, and it is confirmed that you can take it back to the park. So if you go back to the park, you can use that web shooter again.
But not the add-ons.
No, you can use the add-ons. It's basically it's like you buying a DLC. Basically,
Okay.
you buy the DLC, it's forever yours. Extra $30. The thing is, with this whole thing, is that whenever I heard, oh yeah, a theme park is gonna have microtransactions, I just imagine EA saying like, whoa, dude, the fuck, man, that's mine, and
that's ours.
That's ours, and I mean, it's funny. It's so funny how we managed to translate the microtransactions, which has caused a huge controversy in the video game world, to the real life, into a theme park. And it's not surprising because it's going to be a Disney ride. It's part of Disney, and the Disney theme park, the Disney World, has always been extremely expensive, like
yeah,
crazy expensive.
You need to buy like these packages to go for at least 3 parks, and kind of stabilizes the price to it.
And no, not only that, I remember when they made the jokes about the $10 churros, and like they made it on The Simpsons. It's like, this is so expensive. Like, you have the very first. Well, not the very first, actually. It's it wouldn't be the very first superhero theme park, because Universal have Island of Adventures
that has a lot of
they
superheroes.
have Marvel. Yeah. They have Marvel, and they had a Spider-Man ride, which is pretty cool. This is gonna be like the first official Avengers MCU theme park, which it looks pretty cool. You gotta give them that. It looks really good, like Star Wars lands. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, imagine that you go like in the future, you go again to Disney, and you're like, hey, want to take a picture with Mickey? Cool, that's free. But you want to hear his backstory in which he killed his dad? Okay, good. That's $25 extra because that's a DLC for the park. And,
Cash only.
cash only,
Yeah.
dude. It's like you're gonna have a dude with a raincoat in the park. He's like, hey kid, got the good stuff. I got Mickey's hand over here, $10. And I don't like the fact that we have to call it a microtransactions. I don't like the fact that you have to add on experience to a play that you already paid a lot of money. Because you have to pay a lot of money. Like in regular terms, you got to pay money to get in Disneyland. I understand that you have to pay for each park differently. Like I kind of respect that because that's something that's been going on for a long time.
But this is necessary. Like, you need the web shooters to enjoy the ride.
Yes.
And you need to pay, and you have the possibility, because you're able to pay an additional $35 for an add-on, which means that for the full enjoyment of a ride, you are at a base $65 to fully enjoy it.
A lot. That's a lot. Oh, come on.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money. Like,
how many times can you go into that ride? Just regular season. No peaks. Something normal. Imagine May, June.
I guess that
2 or 3
you
times.
could go,
maybe.
yes, 2 or 3 times. If you didn't get bored by the second one.
So that's the thing. But let me tell you something. What would you do? How would you feel that if I told you that this is not the first time that we've experienced microtransactions come to physical form?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm still would be surprised.
In 2008, Mattel Electronics released, Mattel, the one from Max Steel, Barbie, and Hot Wheels. They released a console called the Hyperscan. And what essentially that was a super low-power console that had a bunch of licensed games like Ben 10 from Cartoon Network, Marvel games, and everything. You had to buy the game, and separately, you had to buy IntelliCards, which were cards that had an infrared button, infrared something on the card that allowed you to scan and unlock features in the game that you had. Essentially, new characters and everything. What that meant was that you had to pay for a game that had all the things built into it, and you had to buy cards separately to unlock those features.
But could you use the features all the time? Because the thing is, with this
No,
park,
only if you had the card on hand. Like, imagine if you're playing a fighting game, an X-Men fighting game, and you want it to be Colossus. The game would ask you every single time to scan the Colossus card for you to actually play it.
so that's the thing, because a video game, you have it in your house, and you can
Yes.
play it anytime you want. But with this park, you have to pay the entrance each time you're gonna go there. And to use the tech, I mean, what are you gonna use the tech in your house for? You know what I mean? Nothing. It's display. You got a $30 display.
At least like the ones at Harry Potter are like $11, something like that. So, and you can pay like an extra 10 if you want it to be an interactive one for you to interact with the park. But that's just for the novelty. The same way that they sell the ropes for every house. Like you don't need any of that to actually experience the rest of the rides and everything. If you want the
Right.
full experience of this ride, you need to pay $65. On top of your daily expenses at a park and the entrance ticket. I think this is pretty scummy. I don't like it. Like Super Nintendo World has these interactive bands that come with your entrance, and you can pick what bracelet you want to use.
Yeah.
So I don't really like it. But going into something more of of quality of life changes in the form of additional stuff as outside of a game, we have that Nintendo's new Zelda Amiibo removes tedium of Skyward Sword HD for an extra $25. What this means? Let me explain. Skyward Sword is the first in the line in the timeline of Zelda, and it's a game that has a lot of really good storytelling, a really fluid gameplay if you're able to grasp everything about the concept of the game and everything. But it has one small issue, and it's the fact that there are two ways of playing the game. You have the hub world, which is Skyloft, where you can replenish your health, find arrows, bombs, whatever. And then you have the ground levels that are Faron Woods, etc. What happens with this with this thing is that if you ever want to go back to Skyloft in order to replenish your health or anything, you need to go to a save point, which gives you the option to go back to the skies. With this Zelda and Lovewing statue that costs $25, parenthesis, it looks really good, you will be able to take to the skies anytime you want from any place without a statue for $25. Now, the game is completely playable by itself. I have to admit, I don't particularly think it's that offensive, but it works like if you bought something outside of Dark Souls 3 that would allow you to return to the Hall of Darkness instead of using bonfires. That's essentially it. It's not like in Bowser's Fury that you can activate Bowser anytime you want if you use a Bowser amiibo.
I think. Well, here's the thing. If you say you can play the game by itself, I don't have a problem with that because it's an optional item. I think that getting the item would take a little bit out of kind of like the fun of some things of the game, because whenever you have that system in which checkpoints are a little bit scarce for you to go back to a hub, it adds up to the challenge of like you're nervous that you need to get to one of those before. Like that's the point of Dark Souls. Like in Dark Souls, whenever you've been away from a bonfire for a long time, whenever you see one, you're like, oh my god, my life is, yeah, and you feel safe. You're like, oh my god, I'm so safe. Like it's like that. Imagine that for like a new Dark Souls, like maybe they do Dark Souls 3 remaster for the PS5. They say like, hey, for $30, I'll give you gas and some wood, and you can open a bonfire wherever you want. That would take out the fun of it because I can put it up wherever I want, and like at the end of the day, I don't feel it takes some of the challenge off. But at the same time, it's optional, so I think that's fine. Like at least it's not like it's not something that people will say without this the game would not feel the same. I don't have a problem with that. I just think it's kind of like a unnecessary extra, unless you want that statue in your room because it looks good.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I don't find it particularly offensive. Like it said, the title card here on The Verge says that saving time in Skyward Sword ain't free, but for all that it's worth, if the game is as good as I remember it, because I remember it being quite good, I don't think it's absolutely necessary for you to get that. That's my take. And now, for people that have been waiting for a release of Bloodborne on PC, my friend Pere was able to find something that may fill the gap for us. Now, this is a game that comes from developer Round 8 Studio and publisher NeoWiz, and it's Lies of P, a Pinocchio-inspired horror survival Souls-like game, which, according to an interview to the developers, says that they're going to implement a lie system where what you say will impact the gameplay. I couldn't see this coming.
I mean, Disney got dark.
Like, this is like super. This is some kind of inner thing that you go into your friend's house and told you, dude, you know what would be fantastic? Batman versus Predator.
Do a line of coke and you say, "Let's."
Oh yeah, it would be fantastic. Like it sounds like this weird type of crossover that you would never think that a sane person would come up with it, and then somebody does it. I mean, the trailer looks fantastic. It reminds me of that game that hasn't come out yet, the one that used Wukong. You know, the Chinese one?
Yeah, I don't think it's Journey to the West, but yeah, I know the one you're talking about, yeah.
It's something like that. And what I think is that this is what I love about the gaming industry. When they come up with some of the most batshit insane premises for a video game, like I would have picked any other fairy tale thing in the world aside of Pinocchio. And it seems like they actually picked a really good idea, because a lot of people, and I've seen it on Twitter, people are kind of excited for it. People love the Black Plague era for gaming. And this is right up that alley.
I mean, I saw the trailer and it looks really good. It actually kind of makes. I'm pretty sure, like I'm gonna say, I'll even put up money that I bet that Geppetto is gonna be the final boss. Like, hands down, he has to be the final boss because he sounds like a bad guy. The game looks good, but like the premise, it reminds me a little bit whenever they did the Alice in Wonderland games, which were really dark.
Yeah, the
extremely dark.
America's Magies.
Yes, and like obviously it's not gonna be the same because Alice in Wonderland does have its like darker past. Like every single fairy tale has its darker past, because Pinocchio was not originally meant to be like like the one that we saw on Disney, like the friendly wooden kid. He actually was a nuisance for a lot of people. He got hanged. Like in the original story, he got hanged. Like they killed him once, and that's why like the fairy godmother came back and she's like give him back to life. I mean, it looks interesting. It's an interesting take on the thing, and I like the fact that they have the lie system in which whenever you tell a lie, your nose will get bigger. I don't know how they're gonna implement that. Maybe it's something that you don't know you're lying until you see your nose and you're like, oh my god, I lied. That will be very interesting, and it seems like the whole mechanic is gonna be like, since Pinocchio is it's basically a toy or a wooden. He's not a wooden boy anymore because it's just like this prosthetic arm, like on the right hand.
Yeah, he
which
looks
is
like
metal.
an absolute adult. Like they built him like a fucking mannequin.
And no, he looks like a character from Bloodborne, but with a lot of color. Like it has colors, a lot of colors. It's not just black.
We'll just have to wait to see what we're going to get.
I knew that I watched the trailer and I said, "Oh my god, that's so metal. That's so cool." I don't know why. It looks really cool.
Now, we're going to jump into Perez Spotlight. For those who don't know, Andres is a really talented Overwatch player, grasping the top 1000 on the ladder, Grandmaster since Season 2, and he is a really avid player, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about what Blizzard just showed us a couple of days ago, all the changes that are coming to Overwatch 2. So first we're going to start that Overwatch 2 now has 5v5 multiplayer and a trio of maps. Now I want to ask you, if you know it, of course. First, why were 6 players from the start? Secondly, what do you think about the new maps? And third, how do you think it's going to impact the change to 5 players per team?
Ooh. So I think it was 6v6 because they thought it would balance out if it was even number team.
Okay.
You know, they had tanks, they had supports, they had DPS. Their vision was always for people to play 2-2-2 with some leeway here and there. They got a little stiff thereafter because people were having throwers on the match. Everyone went DPS, and they had these stupid compositions that would ruin most people games.
Okay. Okay.
So about these maps, I think they're very, very good. The design team really went off with those. They have the New York map, the Monte Carlo map, and Toronto. And
And they
actually
also
in
have Rio,
Toronto,
right?
I think they mentioned Rio as well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So the thing I've seen the most, or the thing I was interested the most, is this new, let's say, objective. This map objective that it has a robot. It starts in the middle of the map, and they have to push these slabs of metal all the way to the end line. And whenever they get to a checkpoint, it transitions also your checkpoints and spawn points as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. Like the payload.
Right, but it goes both ways.
Oh, it changes all the time.
No, I mean the
Like if it goes to another checkpoint, it changes, and when it goes to another checkpoint, it changes back to the original one.
it changes.
Okay.
So I think it's a really interesting game mode. It
It's
will
definitely new.
change everything.
I mean, it definitely sounds new. The thing is like it's silly, but like so you remember that the payloads were technically like Overwatch missions, like they were kind of like the aesthetic of it were missions instead of like, the only one that felt wrong was Hollywood because you were the VIP, you were had to protect a VIP, but
Yeah.
like the whole thing was aesthetic for missions. And in this one, I just imagine like in the next episode of Overwatch, we're gonna move metal, and like yeah, this is super good for the world. It's funny for the
Yeah, it
aesthetic of
has
the
to have
history.
like it needs to have a reason why the robot is pushing that.
I mean, it's funny itself, but one of the things that first of all, I'm glad that this happened. This whole Overwatch 2 update happened because it was a
Overhaul.
big update. It
Yeah.
was a very big update. Maps, gameplay. We finally have a date. They said that they're gonna release it for 2022,
Yes.
which it's a little bit sad because a lot of people were expecting it for this year. But at least we have a date. So we're good with that. And it's like the thing that the one thing that I think it divided a lot of the audience was the new 5v5 composition. Here's the thing, and I wanna know your opinion. In my regards, in my side, I am in favor of the 5v5. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's going to help the gameplay a lot, not only on the queue system, it's gonna help the gameplay on the compositions, it's gonna help the esports scene on Overwatch, and there is another side that is saying that the whole reason they're doing 5v5 is first of all because they were lazy enough to do a compositions by 6, and the second one there's a lot of people saying that it's a way for Blizzard to, like, let's say, save some money on the esports scene regarding player contracts,
Contracts.
because you don't have to contract now 2 tanks. You can only contract 1, and that is going to, like, it's going to threat the the career of a lot of tank players in Overwatch, which I'm not agreeing on. Like, I'm totally not agreeing on. But that's my take. I think it's going to be better compositions. I think it's going to help out the Q system a lot, and I think it's going to help out the whole esports scene as a whole. Because like, if you were a DPS, you're fine. You're still gonna play DPS. We're gonna be one less DPS on the
But if
team.
you're a pro
Well,
player, you need to pick a specific tank that grabs the what the team needs at a time. I
not
think
only that, like, think of this. They already said that they want to make tanks feel more aggressive. They mentioned that they might do a new fire mode for Winston, for example, where he can pick off people that is just going out of the fight. So especially like you can have situations in which a Winston can go against a Genji that is going away from the team. If they do that, that's super cool. Like if you make the tank don't feel like a damage sponge, more like something that actually applies to the whole gameplay. I think that's fine. I think that's good. And whenever you go to the pro scene, I think that's going to make new tank players and old tank players, pro players, to change their game and up their skill level. It's going to raise the skill level for tanks like by a lot. And I
Yeah.
think that's pretty good because I
That
think that makes the game to move better. But I want to hear your opinion. It's starting with Perry because he's a pro in all of this.
Right. So my opinion about 5v5, I really like it. I think it gives the DPS a lot of spotlight because having one tank now, that means they don't have a lot to defend, even though they gain new abilities to balance it out. Like Zarya has 2 shields, Reinhardt has 2 fire strikes, Winston has his alt fire that they mentioned, and that's cool. But now the DPS can flank a lot more because there's not a ton of defense involved in the team.
so it
So
gives
I
some
think that
leeway to how you proceed to every single fight.
right. Right. So, and touching on the pro scene, I really think it'll have its worrisome things because people will not make the cut. I mean, if you're not the best tank, there's no second tank. So I'm sorry, you're not on the team. So I get people when they say they're worrying about it. I totally can see that coming with these changes. And well, I think it's healthier overall for the Overwatch to go down this path, even though the pros can be damaged in the process.
The thing that I see that a bunch of pros are saying, because there are a bunch of quotes here. There's Albert Ye, that he is a tank player for, well, it's a pro player. It's what it says here. He says that I really hope there's a lot more changes coming to tanks balance wise. I didn't get the feeling from any of the gameplay shown that 5v5 provided a better experience. If there's only one tank, tanks need to feel crazy strong to encourage people to play it. Justin Jane Conroy, the coach of Dallas Fuel and founder of Hell Esports, wink wink, says that if you think that the shift to 5v5 Overwatch 2 has anything to do with game balance, and not just saying Overwatch League not saving Overwatch League some money, then boy oh boy, I have a bridge to sell you. Good luck to the current Overwatch League tank players, and any aspirant Overwatch League pros. You're going to need it. What this means is that it's good for the game, it's good for the meta, it's bad for tank players. That's what we can gather from what they're saying.
That's what they're saying, but like, first of all, we have to see, because this, first of all, we're in the, let's say, a showroom. These are updates. We haven't seen the full-on character updates because they said, I think it was last year, that every single class was gonna get like a complete overhaul. So, for example, tanks, we're gonna, if I'm not wrong, they're gonna have more base armor and I think damage. They're gonna be more aggressive. DPS is going to be faster. They're gonna make them with a lot of movement speed, so that, like Paris said, they're gonna have the opportunity to flank around.
And the healers
one that
will
I
heal
don't-
more.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the healers will heal more, and it sounds dumb saying heal more, but yeah, that's because there are some DPS players that can actually heal themselves. Like, for example, Soldier 76, he has this healing zone for him and everyone who gets in. Here's the thing. We haven't seen the complete changes of everything, and they actually said, like, the Overwatch team said that the 5v5 is meant to simplify a lot of the actions in Overwatch, and I think that's always good that you want to simplify something out of a game, because whenever you make like something like compositions feel too difficult, that will draw players out of the game because they're gonna feel that is really hard. For example, let's say we're talking original, like the now Overwatch scenery, like the current Overwatch scenery. We have a
2-2-2.
6-team, yeah, and we have a 6-team composition. What do you think, or what is the normal composition for a 6-team? In my opinion, what I always see is that you have 1 tank, 2 healers, and 3 DPS. Wait,
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah, 1 tank, 2 healers, and 3 DPS. What do you think it's the composition in Overwatch?
My problem is that if there are 2 tanks,
The composition,
Yes, exactly.
because competitive, it's still 2-2-2. So what I think this 5v5 is trying to achieve, whenever there was a meta shifting composition in Overwatch, the tanks were heavily involved. So there was a time where it was Roadhog in the spotlight, and they have to nerf him a lot because he worked way too well with Reinhardt or Zarya. So that's gonna cut a lot of the meta. An annoying one at that, because you had this moving, towering fortress of shields going to the objectives, and there was sometimes, if your team was not coordinated enough, nothing you could do about it.
that's my problem with Overwatch right now. That I feel kind of mostly intimidated by having these 2 gigantic walls covering a point or going to the side, because as a Lucio main, for example, that mainly plays support, that doesn't get to play DPS that much, it's really scary. You don't want to go near them, and if you need to push with your team, and if something goes bad, there's no way like to recover. That's something that I don't necessarily like right now of how they doing Overwatch. I think that the removing 1 tank may do it, but I think like there should be some leeway in that specific thing. Like, yes, have 5v5, but allow that other things. For example, there are better scenarios where 2 tanks are better than 2 DPS. So imagine some leeway that you may be able to have for people to actually play it. Only allow that you need to have that only 1 place is support, or like I fucked up that. You have 3 classes.
Yes.
If you're a team of 5, only 1 class should have 1 character. But you can mix and match everything. For example, you may have 1 healer, but you can have 2 tanks and 2 DPS. And you are sacrificing healing, sustain, push, or anything for more damage and more resistance. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, if you leave some leeway for people,
there should be, like, you're saying there should be composition diversity.
that is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Like, allow
That
people
is interesting.
to create their own composition. Imagine that you have a team of Overwatch players in Pro, and they have another format where they go 2 healers, 1 DPS, and 2 tanks. That's perfectly acceptable because they don't have the same amount of damage output as a team that would go 1 tank, 2 DPS, 2 healers. What I don't want is that some crazy madman goes and says, well, we're going to have 3 tanks and 2 healers. No, maximum amount for teams, two characters per role, maximum. And then there was always be 1 class that has 1 character.
So kind of like a little bit of like how you do compositions in League of Legends. Because
Kinda.
in League of Legends you can have 2 tanks and maybe a lot of mages, because, well, the difference is that it's not only damage, you have like physical damage, AP, and all that, but you have different compositions that work out. I like that idea. It sounds very interesting. And also, like you said, like you as a Lucian main, I'm a Reinhardt main. I love playing tank in Overwatch, and I think that whenever it's like Perry's right, whenever you are, for example, a Reinhardt, and you know that the other tank it's a Roadhog, you feel like this is really unfair for the next team because I give him a lot of shields. He can go full health with just one click, and I understand how that really affected a lot of the matches. I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people just wanted to play DPS because they thought it was more dynamic. But the thing is, like, whenever you have a 5v5, it not only changes the compositions, it will also change the strategy and the whole gameplay of how you do it, because now you know that you're the only tank, and you say to yourself, okay, so I'm basically the tower and I have to be the wall for my team for them to play an objective right. But now I'm also aggressive. I can be more aggressive during team fights. So I'm not only going to be like on the back end of the team or on the front like a Reinhardt. Now I can actually participate in team battles,
It
and that's
gives
really
a new
cool.
degree of flexibility of what you're
Exactly. And
doing.
now the whole training process, it changes because now you're not going to train to how to put shields and basically take damage. Now you're going to train on how to put shields, take damage, and do damage. Like you're going to feel like a more complete player, uh, in tank wise. And for example, now healers. If you heal more, like of course, whenever you're a support, you're a Lucio. You are let's say, I don't know, you're a Mercy. You are by definition, you know you have to heal. But whenever I play Overwatch and I play on the rank games, I know that a lot of the healers have to prioritize sometimes the tanks because they know that there are sponges with damage, and they can also get a lot of healing out of the healers. Now that you make a more aggressive team, a more aggressive tank, and a new composition, I think that is going to drive the healers to be more team players. So now you're gonna see healers going to be more focused on like who has lower health. I don't care who is the best one of us now. I just need to keep everyone healthy, which I think is pretty cool. Like it's going to make you more active. And if you're a DPS and you've always been a DPS, of course your main purpose is to do damage. That is not going to change. But now you know that there is a more aggressive tank. You know that there are healers that are big parts of the team. Now, I think that will drive the DPS players to engage in new tactics in which it's not just I'm going to do damage to their DPS and to their I think we're going to see on the pro
It
scene
adds
that they're going to
thought
be.
to everything. Like
Yes,
we're
it
going
adds
to
a
be
lot
able,
of thought.
we get like more characters because they're going to be more flexible. Like for example, this is something that Donkey said in his Overwatch 2 video, that in over whatever amount of time that has been playing the cast in the past couple of years, he's seen like 5 or 6 tracers. And Tracer is a character that has a really good design, and you don't see her because she's not that viable. Something like Sombra, something like Reaper, characters that were really fun to play as and really good, that don't see the same amount of spotlight because they are completely shut down by other characters. Having the
And by the
reduction,
meta.
yeah, and having the reduction of specific of a specific role will allow them some flexibility for them to continue playing, and I love that idea.
And not only that, I think that whenever you like they said that the 5v5 is to simplify the game, and then a lot of people that is against the 5v5, they're saying, "Oh, so you're going to make the game dumber." And not necessarily, because simplifying the game means that we are making more concrete ways of how you can play the game so that you can understand that, and after that comes creativity. And creativity translates into tactics, strategy. How do you do this? So now you're going to see on the pro play that maybe there's going to be a Solar 76 that is not going to be focused on the enemy Pharah. He's going to be looking for the enemy Mercy, and he's going to try and get outside of a team fight to get the Mercy. And that is one of the things that I really like, for example, about other games, like for example League of Legends. Like I know that it sounds like I'm a huge fan of League of Legends, but I think one of the good things of team fights in League of Legends is that you don't go into a team fight saying let's all just brawl it out. you actually go in and you know that you have a specific objective on the enemy team because of what you do
You have
and
a
what
purpose
they
of what you need
represent.
to do. Like you need to take care of
Exactly.
that guy and that guy, and that's what.
And when it works out, it's super cool because when it works out, then it means that the rest of your team, their mission is just to completely obliterate the enemy team. And I think that is going to happen in Overwatch, and I think that is so freaking cool because Overwatch is a game that has a lot of activity. It's way more active, also quicker, but way more active than other games in the pro play. Like for example in League of Legends, because you're always fighting. You're
Yes.
always fighting. You're always on the. You don't have to farm. You don't have to take up. Like you have to constantly fight. And now if you add up tactics, strategy, and a new composition of teams, I think it will make him way more active. I think it's going to raise the skill cap from the current metas. It's going to change the metas, and not only that, we're gonna get new characters. By the way, we
Yeah.
already have I don't know. I don't remember the name of the one that is going to come with launch. I know that she has a cannon for her arm, which sounds pretty cool. But be assured, there's gonna be new characters that are going to add up new things to the meta. That's what I really like about Overwatch 2. I really like this news specifically because we haven't seen an update in a long time, and we're really worried about all this.
Yes.
But
Mm.
I think it really shows that Overwatch 2 is going to be a complete evolution of Overwatch 1, and I think, and
Which is
one
something
thing
that
that I
people
really like,
want. That's what I
yes,
want. I want to experience
and
something new at the same time that I experienced Overwatch when it came out.
yes, and one thing that I really like, that I feel like this is really good, is that I think that whenever they did the queue system in Overwatch 1, in which you have the DPS, tanks, and healers, and then you get different queue times. Uh, at the beginning, it was a little bit annoying because everyone was saying like, "Oh my god, if you're gonna be DPS, you have to wait like 5 minutes." But I think they did that to have like a census or do have feedback, and they knew, okay, so this is going on, this is
People
annoying.
didn't like at all the 222. People don't like it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we're seeing this and we're going to change it for Overwatch 2. That's really listening to the
Yeah,
audience, and I think that's pretty cool.
that's pretty cool. Well, we need to close this up because we went overboard 7 minutes. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more of BoisChat, you can see us every single weekend on either Monday or Sunday. It depends how fast I'm able to edit these videos. Once again, thank you all you guys for watching. Subscribe for more, and we will see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye.